All right, welcome to MTZ Overflow
Hey,
Podcast.
what's going on?
My name is Cassaundra Thorpe. I am your host, and I'm here with my forever guest, Reverend Dr. Marcus Allen. How you doing,
I'm good. What's going on, everybody?
We are back. We're excited. Well, I'm excited. Let me not speak for you, Pastor. I don't want to speak for you.
Okay.
You want me to?
No.
Okay. Are you excited to be back?
I am very excited to be back.
Can you tell by his voice?
Very.
And so we are in, so let's just get into it. But we're happy to be back. But we're in this whole year, we have been talking about Jesus is the way.
Facts.
And we've been breaking down, going through it. And we're on the back half. We're in quarter four.
Yeah,
Lock in.
The year is almost done.
That's crazy.
Super.
But we're here. We're in October, and Pastor, is it a church, like a national church thing to recognize stewardship in October?
No,
that's just our focus.
Yeah, that's us. Some places, everybody do it different times of the season. Some people do it in January. One of my homeboys, he does his, I think, in July. Okay. It's just when I came here in 2016, they just had one Sunday in October to focus on stewardship. I think it was like the third Sunday in October.
Okay.
Was like stewardship week. And so think about 2017-18, we took it to stewardship month, where the whole month focuses on stewardship.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And so do you like that it's a full month? I mean, I feel like I set you up because I feel like you're obligated to say yes, but
no, yeah, because I initiated the full month. Initially, it was only 1 week.
Okay.
Where people made commitments. We might need to go back to that too, where we make our commitments to giving for the next year. But yeah, I like it because money, time, talents, we don't talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
And so October give us the whole month to really train and teach our people on the importance of giving of themselves, and not just a portion of it, but their whole selves.
Yeah, I think that that's important. Yeah, to really teach that, because stewardship isn't a word that's used like in your everyday. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not sitting in meetings and people are like, steward your time, or steward your talent, steward your like no one's talking about that. So I like that. It feels like a very unique church or biblical word. So I think it's cool that we're breaking it down. Mm-hmm. But here, I got close to the mic that time. But here in the first sermon of this series, what's the stewardship month? The Cassaundra, we just talked about it. We are in Luke, and the title of this one is Give. So be like Nike, just do it.
For sure. So
give Nike cred for that. But we're Luke. Luke is a doctor. Mm-hmm. And how did Jesus actually end up finding Luke?
Well, Luke is telling the story from the lens of another disciple. He wasn't a disciple.
Oh.
So he's telling from a different account from other disciples. So he was with Paul in all actuality.
In prison?
No, he wasn't. I don't think he ever went to prison, but he was with Paul. Paul wasn't with Jesus, but Luke is speaking from pretty much third person.
Oh, I didn't know it was written. He wrote for Paul, or wrote Paul's account.
No, he didn't.
You said he's not writing Paul's account.
No,
he was just with Paul.
He was with Paul. So Luke writes the Gospel of Acts.
Okay.
And he writes not the Gospel of Acts, the book of Acts. Uh-huh. And he writes the Gospel of Luke, but it's speaking from perspective of another disciple, and because he wasn't with Jesus during these events.
Okay. Oh, well, it's a little ghost writing going on. Okay, so what's going on in Luke? We're in Luke chapter, the verse is Luke chapter 6:38. What's going on in Luke right now?
It's pretty much the Sermon on the Mount. And Jesus is just instructing the disciples of how they should live their lives, how they should focus on doing the work of God. And then he gives them this charge or this command when it comes to giving. And Jesus is just intentional about how we should be living our lives, and he sets up this plan of reciprocity of what you do will come back to you, and whatever you put out or sow, you shall also reap. And so that's what's going on here. And it's not talking about money. And then, it's talking about forgiveness and talking about loving. But I think the same system apply to anything that we do in life when it comes to doing the work of God. That your intentionality of pouring or sowing will also come back to you in the same manner in which you give it out.
Okay. But why do we always associate it with money?
Why do you?
Oh, ooh, good. Look at that. Put it back on me. Why do you? I think it comes to money because maybe it gets to the point of like money is the root of all evil. And so if you can kind of let go of that, maybe you see money more more regularly. Like you don't always, like you can see talent, but talent's not like in your face. Treasure, like those things are like private. They can be private. So like maybe like the money is it's a visible representation of what it is, and it can be hard to let go of money. So then using it as an example hopefully makes the other things easier to do. And and it gives people options. So if maybe you don't have a lot to give financially in terms of money, you can give your time, you can give of your talent. And talent, I'm assuming in the text, is more skills, not necessarily like the parable of the talents. When he
That
puts
was
it in the
currency.
ground.
That was currency. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like in this context, the talent is meaning like a skill, not currency. Or is it meaning currency?
It's just a parable of the end times in all actuality.
Not the end times.
Yeah. It says a master comes, gives his servants 5, 2, and 1 talent currency. Then the master leaves and he comes back unexpectedly. When the servants didn't know he were coming. So he comes back unexpectedly. Jesus says, "What? No man knows the day nor the hour when I'm going to come." So he's preparing them, saying, while I'm gone, make sure you're using what I have given you and reproducing it and not just throwing it in the ground. Because once the master comes back, he tells the servants, "Well done, my good and faithful servants. You've been faithful over the few things. I'll make you ruler over many. Come up just a little bit higher." So it's really a parable of the end times, of making sure. And it also speaks to the frailties or the small amount of time we have to be consistent with what we have that God has given us. And so we shouldn't just be wasteful with time, that we need to be intentional with our time, with the gifts, the talents, the treasures, the love, the joy, everything God has given us. We should be finding a way, how do we reproduce it? Because we don't know when our time will be up, when God comes back and say, give account of what you've done with what I have given you. So that parable is actually an end time parable.
Had no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it as an end time parable. I thought of it as a a parable talking about. I mean, I guess it is about stewardship.
Right.
Not I guess it is about stewardship.
Totally.
And but in it, you're given these skills, these opportunities, and you need to do the most with them so that you can elevate. I guess in this life, how I was thinking. So for those of you who are just joining, I was a former basketball player, and so thinking about what I'm doing with my time in the gym, when I do workouts, what I do in the weight room, doing that consistently, and then having that lead to more playing time, more points, more exposure that way. That's how I thought of it, which I guess is not that different. I just needed to go a little bit higher.
Yeah.
And go beyond.
Yeah. So the intentionality is don't bury what God has given you.
Yeah.
Right? Because the servant that buries the talent in the parable, the master calls him lazy. Because he was like, yo, I didn't know you when you were coming back. And I know what type of man you are. So I buried mine in the dirt. So that's, if we interpret that, that's him saying, I just wanted to give you back what you gave me. Whereas the master says, you could at least put it in the bank and gain some interest. But there was nothing. You didn't steward this at all. And that lets us know that what we have, God is saying, do something with it. You can do something with it. It may not get you, and then we if we look at it too, they all had a portion, but they all did not have the same responsibility. They all were required to do something with what they had, but they all didn't have the same level of responsibility. One had 5, one had 2, and one had 1.
Yeah.
They all so the one with 2 wasn't expected to produce 5.
Right.
The one with 5 wasn't expected to produce 2. They were expected to do something with what they had, but they had different levels of responsibility. So it also points to that there would be some that would have more than me, but there also would be some who have less than me. But even though God has given us more, I'm still responsible to do something with what I have. And I'm not exempt from trying just because I don't have 5 and only have 1.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of truth to that. Because I can definitely see, and I've been in situations where I was like, well, they don't, because they have 5, I'm going to bow out with my 2. I'm going to take my 2 and just be over here. But there's a responsibility that comes with the talents that you gave. Cool. I really look forward to hearing you preach on that on a different day.
Not this year.
Because I know, well, not this year. I just said a different day.
Oh, yeah.
It could be any day. I don't know the day, nor the hour with which you will preach this.
That's legit.
But getting back into the text, thank you for walking through that with me. So in Luke, Luke 38, where we're at, is the text that involves this. It is probably one of the more challenging biblical concepts for me to understand, because I think this one truly has a lot of cultural context in it. Because this is language that I feel that was used a lot more during biblical times than we use right now. So with the first point, it's like, is giving a command with a promise. So in this text, I'll read it and then so we're talking about it. But it says, "Given it will be given to you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be put into your bosom. For with the same measure that you see it will be measured back to you. And so the command of the promise is, you said there's one word that's for us, but then the other 37 words fall on God. Like, that's his responsibility. I presume, based on context clues, our one word is give.
Yeah.
But technically, it's in here. Well, it's I guess given. But yeah, so all we have to do is give. Give of our time, talent, treasure.
Yeah. It's, like I said, the context of what Jesus is talking about here is loving, forgiving. Mm-hmm. But we look at this as the system in which God, which is the next point, what God uses perfect for provisions. Whatever you put out, that's what you will receive. So if you give, then Jesus says, then it'll be given back to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over. Mm-hmm. For as much as you give shall be given. Same measure in which you give out, it'll be given back to you. And so that's the ultimate responsibility. It's on us. It starts with us. If we are looking to receive from God, we got to be willing to give. And so we can relate that to any area of our lives. Any area of our lives, we can relate the money. We can relate that to love, patience, kindness, gentleness. Whatever we're willing to give out, God says, I'm going to make sure I give it back to you. And so I think that's this divine reciprocity plan in which Jesus puts in place that we can use in any area. And I think I'm definitely a witness that it works.
Okay. Witness then.
Witness, no. All of my life I've been a giver, except a couple of years in the Army where I wasn't giving no tithes and offering. But once I started working, my mama taught me how to tithe. Right? Tithe is 10% off what you have. And my mother taught me, give to God first. Pay those people that you owe money to, and then pay yourself. And then live off the rest. All right. So if I got $100, $10 go to God, right? And that's my belief that once my tithe and offering leave my hand, it goes directly to God's hand. It doesn't matter that I got my account set up where my money automatically goes to our giving platform here at the church. But my mentality is going from my hand to God's hand. And the church is responsible to do God's work with what God has given them. Right? So if I got $100, $10 goes to the church. Hopefully I'm living within my means, right? And so hopefully all of my bills only make up about 25% of my income. I think most financial strategists want you to stay below 30%. So I'm gonna say 25%. So I got $10.
Did you budget?
$10 go to God. Bills wise, that's about $25. It's going to go to all of my bills. All right, and then I must pay myself because I need a rainy day fund. So now I'm gonna take 10% also of a rainy day. So now I got 10, 25, another 10. That's 45% of my overall income. 10 going to God, 25% going to pay those people I promised that if they give me some money, I'll pay them back. Right? And or if they give me a service, I'm going to pay them. All right. So that's then another 10 I'm put to the side because I don't know what's going to happen. And so now I have 55% to live off of. And if I can't do that, then there are some issues. You know what I mean? And so me being consistent in that, I've never been in a place where I was in dire need financially. Only one time I had to call my mama and tell her I needed some money while I was in the Army. So I was in the Army. I went to Iraq, and they gave us cost of living, combat pay, and I was single, so I wasn't supposed to receive housing. But somehow during the whole deployment, they paid me housing, and I didn't catch it. And when I came back, they didn't catch it till like 3 to 6 months later. But when they caught it, they took it all back at once.
Oh.
So my check had no pay due for a whole month. So I didn't receive any funds. So I had to call my mom. She had to pay my car note and my insurance for me. That was the last time I ever asked anybody for financial help.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. Because after that, I knew I wasn't paying my tithes.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And so my intentionality was to make sure I was giving to God first. And that was in 2004, 2005. And because I went to Iraq 03, 04, and then came back. I was in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and I remember I had no money, and I had to call my mom. And so the reciprocity plan from that, the intentionality from that, God has always provided for me. And I have always been able to get what I want. I'm not a millionaire, but I also understand the power of, I guess I put this in language that people can understand, of investing in God's system. You feel what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because now I have a little knowledge of stock market, annuity, Roth IRAs, retirement funds. Now I have knowledge of that. And some would say, don't give to the church.
Yes. Yes.
Some would say, some financial planners would say that, but my best investment plan or avenue of investing is giving to God, which is giving to the church.
Yeah. Because
I'm following the commands in which God has given us to give, and from me giving, I know I am who I am because of my obedience to God in this process of being a giver of all that I have and trusting God that if I give, God is going to bless me. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I say Sunday that this plan, this promise is not something that we bargained with God. God is approaching us with this.
Yeah.
It's not like we saying, okay, God, I'm only going to give you this because I know you're going to give me something. It was God saying in Malachi 3:10, will a man rob God? And he said, at least 3:8-10. He says, yes, you have robbed me in tithes and offering. Bring all of the tithes and offering to my house, right? To the storehouse, and try me and see that I will not open the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing that you will not be able to receive. And so this is God initiating the promise. It's not us bargaining with God. You know, sometimes we bargain with God. God, if you get me out of this, I promise you I won't do it again.
Guilty.
God, if you do this for me, I promise you I'll do this for you. But this is a promise. It's as if the salesman is knocking on your door with the promise, not you knocking on his. And so since that's the case, I expect God to do what God said he would do if I do what I said I would do. And I like this promise because oftentimes, I say in the sermon, promises from corporations, businesses, organizations, they understand psychology. So they will make make the promise in big, but the stipulations in small writing.
Yeah.
And so I remember going to the store one time and it says 70% off. And you grab something off the rack, take it up to the counter, and you thought you were getting it for 70% off, but you didn't read the small writing that said up to
or select styles
70% off, up to. And so your merchandise may have been 10% or 25%. When you thought it would be 70%, you calculated in your mind, I'm only paying this much for it. But they were like, no, you didn't read the whole sign. And so those are the psychological business practices that are played on the human mind and eyes that we may perceive. But God is saying, give. That's all I want you to do. And there's no other stipulations. The only other stipulation that's required in the text is at the same level in which you give, and the same level you shall receive.
Yeah.
And so our intentionality must be give. I told this story in Bible study on Wednesday night. One time we were able to go see the inauguration of President Barack Obama. And Tara was in the Army, and it was because of her unit we were able to go, and they were giving us full access. They were paying for everything, but then it was a government shutdown. So all of the funds ceased, and we didn't have the money to go to D.C., pay for a hotel, pay for food, because they were going to cover all of that initially. But however, we received a check in the mail that I know it was only God, but it was money that was owed to us from a previous case that was years old. But in that moment, God knew we needed it to fulfill, something we wanted to do, to see President Barack Obama inauguration. We didn't go to the ceremony, but we went to the party afterwards. Yeah. So we didn't want to be in it was cold out there that day.
It's always cold in January.
Yeah. It was cold out there that day, and we didn't want to, so we watched it on TV, but then we went to the ball after the inauguration ball afterwards.
That's
and it
cool.
was pretty cool. And then we was only able to do that because we received the blessing in the mail days before we had to make a decision if we would go or not. This year, MJ want to play football, and in order for him to play football at college level, he may have to go to a D3 college. And going to a D3 college, they don't offer scholarships. And so I'm feeling sorry for him because he's not able to play this year because he tore his ACL. And so I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to try to help you get into these D3 colleges. Most of them are private. And so they're not giving him a scholarship, so we'll have to pay. And going to these college visits, most of these colleges like $40,000 a year. $45,000. I'm like, what? That's $160,000. I don't have that. I'm a preacher. But me being a disabled veteran, if he go to any school under the UW system, he go to school for free.
Very true.
However, none of the University of Wisconsin schools are recruiting him to play football. So he'll have to go to a private school, and we'll have to cover the tuition. But last week he got he got an acceptance letter to one of the colleges, and I was like, MJ, did you read the whole letter? He's like, yeah, it's just saying I got accepted. But reading the whole letter, they said not only did he get accepted, but they also gave him a $130,000 scholarship. For real, at least $120,000 scholarship. And then another school gave him $55,000 scholarship. And so, that's, for me, that's God saying, I got you.
Yeah.
Because I've been literally wondering, how am I going to pay? Because I haven't been saving. I ain't had no 529.
No.
Because you going to UW, you going to a school, UW system, you go to school for free. Only thing I'm have to pay for is room and board. But that's like $8,000 to $10,000 too. But that's all I have to, that's all I got to pay for.
Yeah, for a year and a half, and then let's say he's off campus or whatever.
Right. So
Oof.
but that was a burden. I was like, yo, I was willing to take on, but I really didn't want to. Still don't want to. So hopefully, UW school, so if University, Platteville, Stout, Green Bay, Oshkosh, Eau Claire, Parkside,
Naming them all. Do they all have football?
River Hills, not all of them, but some of them do. Whitewater. If any of your coaches are listening, please offer my son to come play on your team. You won't have to pay for a scholarship. It's paid for. So you won't have to worry about him wondering about money.
It's not a bad
deal.
deal.
You feel what I'm saying? Just let him play.
Let him play.
But the blessing for me,
yeah,
when I talk about reciprocity and witness to that, that's nobody but God in that situation to me. That's how I see it, because everything I have, I believe God gave it to me.
Yeah, I don't disagree, and I think probably most of our listeners understand and are very excited, and watchers about that, and for MJ. But where I think it's really hard is excuse me, I would say for folks, or I'll just, as always, I need to I speak for myself. It's this initial letting go, giving it up. And I say that because you talked about a salesperson. God is bringing this to us. We're not bringing this to him. But you talk about a salesperson, and whenever I have encountered a salesperson, there's always either they get something out of it. The intention is more on them getting something out of it than the benefit that it brings me.
No, not really.
Yeah,
you getting a product, they getting some money. It's an exchange of service.
It is an exchange of service, but they are willing to do more to get what they need on the back end than what I get walking out the door. So think about buying a car. Mm-hmm. The salesperson knows all about all of the other rebates and add-ons and other elements that go into the purchase of a vehicle, because they do it every day. They're trained to do this. Me, I'm buying a car for the first time in 8 years, so I haven't been in this process. So when I walk into the door, they are banking on the fact that I don't know all of the intricacies that are going on in this car sale. So then they can get me to purchase more things, get a longer warranty here, buy this warranty there, go up in trim so I get all these additional features on the car, because they assume that I don't know. And based off of the things that I add on to my purchase price, they get a commission. So the intention is that they, at the end, okay, yeah, they want me to leave with a car, great. But at the end of the day, they are getting their check. The focus is on them getting their check, not necessarily me driving out with a car that's valuable, reliable, dependable. It's about them getting the check. And I think I know it's hard for me in that analogy to be comfortable with just giving in the hopes that the people that are going to take care of me in my vulnerable state, right? We hold on to everything that we have. I have this, I'm stewarding this. But if I let it go and I give it to you, are you going to steward it in the same way that I'm going to steward it? And if you don't, if you mess it up, that messes with me. If you lie to me about the history of my car, or what's going on inside of my car when I go get it fixed, the liability ends up being on me, because I end up in an accident. I end up with my tire being blown out. I end up having to deal with the consequences on the back end. And so it can become like, yes, this is a promise, and yes, I've seen him do it for others. Lord, do it for me. But when I'm in my own moment, it can be easier said than done.
Well, we're looking at it. Ultimately, God desires your heart. He don't need your money. But as Jesus was stated in Matthew 6, where your treasure are, your heart is also. So most organizations, you say, if you want to see what your organization love the most, look at the budget, right? If we want to say what we love the most, go look at our bank accounts. What are we giving to the most? Whatever we're giving our money to, that's what we love the most or what we trust the most. You feel what I mean? And outside of your required bills and things like that, things you do for leisure or whatever you take pleasure in. If you look at those, and your bank account will tell where you put your most trust or what you love the most. God is not saying, when God is telling us to give, He wants our heart, which means He wants our full devotion. He wants our love. He wants our commitment to Him. Because if we can give our money, we'll give Him our heart. And then you saying it's hard to let go. For me, being able to give, it comes with a few factors. Number one, it's an understanding what I have, it already belongs to God. The earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof, the world and all that dwell therein. Psalm 24:1. Whatever, if you have to take that, hopefully you have that mentality that everything I have is because God has allowed me to receive it. And since God has allowed me to receive what I have, I'm going to trust Him for keeping me and blessing me by giving Him what He deserves. And that's 10%. And I used to say, if you can't get the 10, start at 1, and you get the 1, you'll be able to get the 5. You get the 5, you'll be able to get 10. But God never says 1, 5, 6, 7. It's 10. That's the standard. But if we go to the New Testament, then it says, give out of the abundance of your heart how God has blessed you. And so understanding that what I have, who I am, where I am, is all because God has allowed it. And what's in my possession is not under my authority, it's under God. So I have to give God what belongs to God. 2 is trust. Am I going to trust God with my giving, or am I going to give grudgingly, or I'm going to give out of necessity, or will I be able to give cheerfully and say, God, whatever happens to this, it's on you, but I'm doing what you have required of me. And same with, see somebody on the street asking for money. They saying they need it for housing or need it for food, but then they go use it for drugs. It's not on me what they do with it afterwards. I'm doing what I feel is right to help them in that moment. It's not my responsibility to what they do after I give it to them.
But what if you know that what you, like, when you give it to them, they're gonna go do that, like the complete opposite? Wouldn't you stop giving to that person?
I won't give it to that person. But it's somebody else who might need it. You know what I mean? Just because this person is mismanaging, of course I'm not fit to continue to give. Now that'll be foolish if I just continue to give to a place that I know that's mismanaging what I'm giving, and God has revealed that to me. God don't call us to be foolish in that, but I'm not going to stop my giving. I'm going to find somewhere else to give, and preferably it is where God has led me to trust Him to be good stewards with what I'm giving them. But like I stated first, I feel that my giving is leaving my hand and going to God's hand. And that mentality has allowed me to continue to bless others. And some people are like, well, they don't give to the church. They'll rather give to a separate nonprofit. Me giving to the church allows me to give more to nonprofits, because me blessing God allows God to bless me with more to give to other places, including the church. And so that's my mentality on it. That's me. I can't speak for nobody else, but that's how I think it is, and it's a straight, complete trust factor that God is going to take care of me no matter what. And my mentality is, it's in the sermon, I don't know which point it's in, but God is able to bless me as I bless others. In the same manner that I'm giving, God is giving to me. And so, but it comes with stewardship, right? It comes with stewardship. It comes with moments of understanding, not that givers. I understand that if I'm a tither, I also know how to budget. Because I know if I'm giving to God, I know where the rest of my money needs to go.
Yeah.
Because I always want to be able to give to God, because I believe what I have, God has given it to me. So I'm not going to go splurge for my 35th birthday party knowing my rent is due next month.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I understand what I have, I just don't need it for today. Tomorrow might come, right? And if tomorrow might come, I need to make sure I have some funds to take care of that. And so my Pastor Jolly taught us, we need to have at least 3 months worth of funds in the account to cover if something was to happen. If one day church tell me, hey, we don't want you here no more, and I'm not receiving any type of income, I need to have some money in the bank that I can live off until my next move comes. And so givers understand that and are not, and I don't want to say all givers, but I understand that that this is not a lottery system. This is not a slot machine that the more you put in, the more you get out. We're not gambling with our investing. It is actually a trust system that God has put in place for us, and I'm a living witness that it works.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, for sure. It's got to work, because you're doing your part of the promise that God has shown us. So then getting to the second point of God's system of provision, which is what you were talking about, like blessing, like God blesses me and I bless others. If you didn't see Sunday's sermon, you would remember that Pastor actually didn't make it 2.2. We stayed on point 1, and then he said, I'm done. And because we were talking about Lily and how she already knows that the promise is coming. How she says thank you before you even open the snack, which I was like, did you just think of that in that moment?
No, it was in my notes. I think it was. Yeah, it's in there.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yep. But yeah, I thought that was a great way to make the text like come alive and make it real. Like this is what it looks like in this relationship that we have with God, and saying thank you before we even receive things. I think to your earlier point of it was a previous sermon where you were talking about saying we go to God and just asking him about like, God, can you do this for me? Can you make this way and do all that, instead of going to him like, what do I need to do? So that's what made me think of that. But anyway, so system of provision, which if you all remember from when I started talking earlier about pressed down, shaken together, and runneth over. All right, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to explain some of the cultural context and then what this means. Or do you want to explain it?
Go ahead.
All right, I'm being tested here. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna do my best. I want to be a good student of yours, Pastor. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So in that time, people would, as they would go to the store, they would, or go to the markets, they would get their, let's say they get their grain, and then in their grain, they would, they would get their, they would get it into the bag. Then they would take it and they would push it down, because when the grain just gets poured into it, it just kind of sits on top, like all the pieces sit on top of each other. So then they would have to push it down to make room for more grain, or to make room in the bag. Then they would shake it so that any of the little kind of pockets and holes and corners could get filled kind of with more grain that they pushed down to make room for more to come in, because they wanted to maximize the capacity of their bag. And then as it gets to the running over, it is because there's so much of abundance within the bag because it's been pressed down, shaken. Now there's overflow. So you're able to give more than what maybe you thought that you had. And that's the abundance of God. How'd I do?
Pretty good. It's legit. That's just it. That's the system. Pressed down, shaking together, running over. It's a picture of God really filling all of the empty spaces. When you trust God with your giving, He fills the empty spaces. You know, money, love, forgiveness, kindness, your talents. Wherever there are empty spaces, He fills them by shaking it together, pressing it down, shaking it together, and putting more on top of it that causes it to run over. And so that's the intentionality of our giving. That's the process and the system that God has put in place for us. That if we are intentional with our giving, God is intentional of giving us more than enough. And so what does that look like when God gives us more than enough? Like I said, He gives me enough where I can give to Him, but He gives me more than enough where I can give to others and still be able to live. And so I think that's the system. My focus is to give to God. God will give me. He gives me enough. I give to God. He gives me more than enough. I can give to others, because we serve a God that gives, and we'll see this throughout the whole Bible of God always giving. And so the character of God should become the character of us, that we are intentional in our giving.
Yeah, then so I guess yes, okay, so God fills the empty spaces in that. But how do we end up pressing it down? What does that look like for us?
We don't press it down. He presses it down.
Oh. So then
He shakes it.
So our stuff, so what He's shaking is our time, talent, treasure. That's
Yeah, so what you said, but according to the text, it says your bosom. So back then they had an apron. On the apron is where the pocket was similar to this, but
Okay.
but it was the top slit. This was like a pocket. So we just go open. We go empty to God. This is who I am. Like the song said, Lord, I'm available to you. All I have, right? So we go empty to God, and God is the one who gives us what we need. But when we are willing to give to Him, the process becomes He pours it in, the grain, presses it down for us, shakes it to remove all the empty spaces, and then He makes it overflow. So, like I said, our only responsibility is to give.
What are we giving? If we're going to Him empty, what are we giving?
No, I'm saying, so we're giving Him time, talent, treasures, everything that we have. We're giving to God, and then He's the one who's blessing us.
I think I'm missing something.
You trying to be using a metaphor literally?
I'm trying to, yes, and trying to like connect like dots. Like, yes, okay, he gives us the grain, he presses it, but we go empty. But you're also saying like that's what we're giving, because you said like you see what I'm saying, like how in that analogy, what is the thing that we are?
Right. So
What are we giving?
if you go to the market, you're not getting the grain for free.
I see.
You feel what I mean?
Yeah.
But you'll get more than what you give.
Okay. Yeah. See.
So if I go to the market with love, I'll give you love. Just hypothetically, just thinking that we're not talking about money. If I give love, I'm going to receive so much more love back. If I go to the market and I give kindness, I'm gonna receive so much of that. But if I give patience, if I give my money, or if I give my of my time, God continues to bless us with more than what we deserve.
Okay.
It's like the story of a little kid goes to the store, and the deal of the day is for 5 cents you can put your hand in a jar and grab as much candy as you want for 5 cents. But every week the little boy goes with his 5 cents, gives it to the cashier, but he never puts his hand in a jar. He always asks the man to put his hand in a jar and grab the candy. And one day his mom asked him, "Why won't you put your hand in the jar and always ask the man to put his hand?" He says, "Because his hands are bigger than my hands." He's exchanging something, but he's also getting more than what he would have got on his own. So the trust is, if I'm giving to God, I want God's hand because his hand is bigger than mine. And so that's the system, right? That's the system, because we're trusting that God can bless us with more than what we put out. He'll give us more than what we can ever ask for. That's why he say, I'll open up the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing that you will not be able to receive. And this is God saying, try me and see that I won't open the windows, pour out one blessing, and you won't have room enough to receive it.
That's helpful. Yeah. Then third point, it's an expression of faith, which I think we covered in a variety of ways of like what it looks like. But then, it's that space of like we have to go first. And I believe in our society, we are waiting for others to show me that you're worthy of that. You haven't been in the dating scene for some time, but out here, people want you to show them what you bring to the table, that you're worthy to be their spouse, all before they even decide to make a commitment to just being with you, even on a boyfriend-girlfriend level. And so there's a hesitancy of you go first because of it's like, well, why should I go first? Like, you proved to me that I should go with you, be a part of this, or do whatever. Now me, which I don't always play by all the rules of the society there is, and so it's like I'm willing to share probably more like earlier on, in a sense of like this is what you're gonna get, and they choose it to deny it or not, or to go with it or not. But I think there's a true like worry of like being vulnerable, because that's kind of what it means. It's like I'm stepping out in this space first. Are you going to catch me? Are you going to meet me? Or is this a opportunity that you see to exploit me or make fun of me. And how would you suggest people move through that?
Well, like you said, this is a level of trust. This is establishing a level of trust. The level that I have with God, when it comes to giving of who I am and what I have, has been built over time. It's not something that comes instantly, and so I've already established this relationship with God that now many of you have heard me state from the pulpit, I am God's favorite, or God always take care of me. It's because of my understanding of my obligation to this relationship. And so in establishing that, I've been through some things with God. I've experienced some things with God, and I've seen God work through what I know of my giving of my treasure, my time, my talents. I've seen God bless me in incredible ways because I've built that level of trust, and now the faith that I have in Him is unexplainable because of how I've experienced Him. Now, when it comes to relationship with man and woman, or relationships between anyone, it comes with a level of trust that takes time to establish. What I'm saying here, God is telling us, you go first, is God is asking us to initiate the level in which we want to receive back from Him, because He's saying, and the same measure in which you give is the same measure in which you receive. And I believe that that's also relationships, because if you're holding back, I'm a hold back. If you're being stingy, let me say that, with your love or your time or your commitment to me, I'm not going to give you all of me because I have not learned to trust you yet, or I have not learned who you are yet. But if I'm willing, and I know, and I think relationship, of course, it should takes time. You shouldn't be giving your whole self to someone time you see them. You need to give them, pieces at a time. But but I think when it comes to God, if you built that relationship, you give Him all of you, and you get all of Him. And so that's what when Jesus was saying here, the same measure in which you give would be the measure in which you receive. And Corinthians say, whoever sow sparingly will reap sparingly, and whoever sow bountifully will reap bountifully. That illustration is, if I am a farmer and I have seeds, if I throw out a small amount of seeds and I have a large amount in my sack, I can't expect a large harvest when I was not willing to give a large amount. But if I am willing to give all that I have, I can expect a large return because I was willing to give that in the first place. And so that's when it comes to God. But when it comes to relationship, right, you really trying to figure out that person. Can I trust you with all of me right now? Or can I only give you portions of me? And so that's where I say the difference between human relationships and a relationship with God. God can be trusted no matter what. Humanity, we are a fallen generation of people. And so at one moment it can seem as if I can trust you, and the next I don't know if I can, especially if we are recently dating. So I say use discernment in those cases, but with God you don't have to. At least I don't have to. I can't speak for anybody else. I don't have to, because I know what type of God He is, and the way in which He, I want to say, repays or continues to bless me is based off my intentionality of how I continue to bless Him.
That's good. Those are all the questions I have. Do you have parting pastoral points for the people?
Well, hey, commit yourself to tithing. Commit yourself to tithing to the church. And not saying your tithe should go, well, I tithe to this place and the church. No, tithe wherever you worship. And that's 10% of everything you get. And I was talking to Tara the other day. The federal government know it can't trust us to pay taxes. So they take it out before we ever see it.
That's real.
But God gives us a choice because none of us like taxes.
No.
Nobody. We always trying to find a way to avoid the taxes or trying to get a refund. We're trying to find a system. No one likes it. But when you become a tither, it's a heart thing. And it's at a level where you don't mind doing it when you've committed yourself to it because I'm pleasing God with my giving. And it's not forced on me. It's a choice that we all have. God doesn't, the religion I'm talking about tomorrow, we have a choice to be or not to be, to do or not do. But the choice comes because of the heart, where our heart is. It's with God, and wherever our heart is, wherever our treasures are, there we'll be able to find our heart too. And so I would say, be a heart giver. Be intentional with your giving of pleasing God and not man and not the pastor or deacons, but make sure whatever you're giving is pleasing God, because all of us have something to give, and give it. Just do it.
Just do it. Thank you, Pastor. Oh man, yeah. Thank you. This is really good. I always like when we're able to break down some of these like topics and conversations and concepts, and that's the whole intention and point of this podcast. But until next time, you can feel free to check us out on mtzlife.com, as well as our YouTube channel for sermons and updates and promotions. And we'd love to have you in service with us as well. But until next time, stay marvelous, fabulous, and blessed. Peace.